Howdy folks, welcome to the channel Rockin' the Country. I'm Don. I have a gift request today that I'm looking forward to. I always look forward to these requests anyhow. Tammy, Wynette, and George Jones. It was a gift request of George Woodruff, who is arguably George Jones's #1 fan worldwide, and which is tough to say naturally, but it's kind of fun to say it. So George Woodruff, I refer to him as GW, because when I'm commenting on George Jones, it's important to differentiate between George Woodruff and George Jones. Anyway, we're not the jet set. And this is from Hee Haw in 1974. And GW said this. GW here again, Don, with a request of a video that I just love. It's Tammy Wynette and George Jones's We're Not the Jet Set. It's a fun one. Love your channel, Don. Keep up the good work bringing back some good old country classics. So, thank you, GW. Thank you, George, for that request and those kind words. And yeah, that's what I do here on the channel, is I'm bringing back traditional country. Now, never fully left, and I absolutely believe it's going to make a resurgence because there's too much meat on those bones to be replaced by bro country. Just the simple, and I got all kinds of music, there's a place for each genre and such. Like techno is not my style. I can't stand it. But there are people who absolutely love it. I don't judge them for that. People like what they like. But when it comes to meaty songs, storytelling songs, the traditional is where it's at. And I include bluegrass, folk, western, Cajun, even red dirt. Just songs that have really good storylines in it and don't have this stamped out electronic drum loop type sound. So, Tammy Wynette and George Jones, and we've got a live performance here from Hee Haw. That's the beauty of YouTube, isn't it? That we got to relive these things from back in the day.
By a fountain back in Rome, I fell in love with you. In a small cafe in Athens, you said you loved me too.
She looks pissed.
And it was April in Paris when I first held you close to me.
Rome, Georgia,
Athens, Texas, and Paris, Tennessee. Knowing how the jet set, where the old Chevrolet set, there's no Riviera in Festus, Missouri, and you won't find Onassis in Marlinville, Kansas. No, we're not the jet set, we're the old Chevrolet set, but ain't we got love?
Chevrolet. It's fun.
No, we're not the jet set, we're the old Chevrolet set. Our steak and martini is draft beer with a weenie.
Yeah.
Our vodka and Schikowski.
All right, but I noticed this too. I'm sure you guys do as well. That every so often you come across the name of a town, whether you're just looking at a map and something stands out and you just notice it. Like there's like a Palestine, Pennsylvania, I think. Like there are names of like other cities, towns, countries even that show up in U.S. nomenclature, like New Jersey. I live in New Jersey. Well, there's a Jersey, England. Like Great Britain, it's like an island off the coast of England, and it's called Jersey. And then United States, Revolutionary War, now we have New Jersey, which we just refer to it as Jersey. It's that simple. But you got all these places, and this is a fun way to make a song.
It's ragged and husky
old Chevrolet set, but ain't we got love? No, we're not the jet set, where the old Chevrolet set, the Jones and Wynette set, with the flaming Suzette set, our Bakken Shikowski,
What?
is haggard and husky. No, we're not the jet set, we're the old Chevrolet set, but ain't we got love?
That was interesting. Tammy looked unusually reserved there. I don't know sort of like the history of their relationship and you know, when drama started happening and George did, you know, had his issues. But that was a fun song though. Like, I know from writing lyrics to songs, which I've written a lot of lyrics to songs and never gave them to anybody. I would, I just don't have anyone to give them to or share them with. But that line, no, we're not the jet set, we're like more of the Chevrolet set. Like, that is something that dawns on a songwriter who's paying attention, to make the connection between jet set and Chevrolet, because we all say it's Chevrolet as though it's like French or something. And so to make that observation, it suggests to me that this song took time to write, that it wasn't one of these, you know, bursts of inspiration that hits the songwriter with the bulk of the lyric, 80 or 90% of the lyrics happening in 5 minutes. It was the work of time, because you got, what am I going to include? What cities? How do I want to approach this thing? What kind of tempo? Like, well, tempo comes later with instrumentation and such. But as far as the lyrics go, there's so many places that you could choose. Like, they said Paris, Tennessee. I thought they were going to say Paris, Texas, because I'm quite sure there's a Paris in Texas. But there are cities in the U.S. called Jerusalem. And I can't confirm this. I haven't seen it, but I bet there's like a Prague somewhere. You know, these European cities. I bet there's a Cornwall from England. And in any case, this is just, you know, the songwriter had to choose which ones. But that was fun. The instrumentation was fun. But I'm really perplexed, like curious about, with Hee Haw, it was the big like country show back then, and it was good for artists to get there. I like what did they say? The Wynette and Jones show or something like that. And that was pretty funny that they referred to within the context of the song themselves. They injected themselves into it. That was cute. But I mean, it's tough to be up for every performance. And maybe this was like 5 o'clock in the morning that they had to tape this thing and get it on. Although I think Hee Haw was live. So I'm not quite sure how that would have worked. But all that said, I really like the lyricism in it, and I think it was that's just one of those good, fun songs. You know, just feel good kind of song where you feel good instrumentally. The instrumentation was fun, and even though they didn't have a lot of money, it was spun in such a cute way that you just kind of felt good. And it happens to lots of folks. We're not the jet set. We didn't. What'd they say? Rome? Wasn't Rome like the first city that they mentioned, first place? And yeah, there's probably a bunch of Romes around this country. So GW, that was fun. That was cute. That was, but I gotta say, like, knowing where the relationship would go and the divorce and all that stuff, you're like, all right, well, things would start to unravel. And, you know, like I worked, my ex and I, she was a dancer. And so I forewent law school and we opened a dance studio that took off immediately. So I was on the business customer relations side of it, not being a dancer. But sometime later, you know, she decided she didn't want to be married any longer. And that impacted the business incredibly. And so I know from experience that when you're going through a divorce and you work together, it makes it extremely difficult. And you could put on a happy face and all, and you have to in many ways just for your job's sake. But with George and Tammy, I'm paying more attention, maybe because I have the experience where what was going on there, because, and maybe I'm overly reading into it, but this did not seem to be like a normal Tammy George or George performance where there's sort of like this joy, this popping around and all this kind of stuff. It seemed different, but such is life. Such is life. I love the humanity. That's the big thing for me in life, not only as a life coach or a situation coach, but just being a compassionate person. I look at things from other people's standpoints, and I'm like, okay, what was going on there? But love the song. All right, so GW, that was fantastic. Bringing things back from Hee Haw is just a great way of keeping traditional in the spotlight. Just that simple. So I'm going to rate this one. And the number that popped into my head was a 9.0, and it was on the lyricism. To come up with a rhyme, we're not the jet set. Then you got to come up with a lyric that comes after that. And a lot of things would rhyme with jet set that you could make up. The bet set, or what, we lost our bet, whatever. But to come up with Chevrolet, now that was creative and very, I don't know. It was just a cute spin on things. So, all right, guys, you can thank George G.W. Woodruff for that one. Have a great day, folks. I'll see you on another video and keep rocking the country.
No, we're not the jet set where the old Chevrolet set.